Welcome to the Father and Son Sports Podcast. And now, here are your father and son hosts, Joe Woo Rajkowski, and G-Man, Gavin Rajkowski.
The Father and Son Sports Podcast, sponsored by All In Mortgage.
Welcome to the Father and Son Sports Podcast. I'm your host, or co-host, Joe Rajkowski, with
Gavin Rajkowski.
And today we have a very special guest, University of Delaware men's head basketball coach, Coach Martin Ingelsby. Thanks for joining us.
No, it's great to be here. Appreciate the
this.
opportunity.
Yep. And we're right in front of an amazing trophy here, so I love that. And
we need to get another one of those, right?
Yes, yep. I think you guys will. So, Gavin, why don't you start us off?
All right. So you've been here at Delaware for about 8 years, going into your 9th. What's it like coaching at Delaware?
It's been an absolute honor of a lifetime, honestly. Growing up in a basketball family, I played college basketball, and my dad was my high school coach. So getting into coaching was always a dream of mine. And after I played and finished at Notre Dame, got right into college coaching, and it's crazy. We're going into year 9 here. This is an unbelievable university, great community, love what we do, love the opportunity to be able to be out in the court and help guys become better basketball players, be better individuals and young men, and give them the opportunity to do what they love to do. So excited to be able to go into year 9 with our group, and really look forward to getting started in a couple weeks.
Year 9, wow! I can't believe that. It just feels like yesterday. I remember the announcement, and here we are 9 years later.
Yeah, it's gone by fast. I feel like it was cut in half with COVID midway through it, and all the progress we were making and stuff. But excited to be able to get out of that and for the better and heading into this year.
That's great. So what did you want to be growing up? Probably not necessarily maybe a coach, or was that in your mindset, or what was the thinking when you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a basketball family. My dad was a great high school basketball player at Cardinal O'Hara, played at Villanova, went on to play in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks. So I always aspired to kind of follow in his footsteps and hopefully one day be an NBA basketball player. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me.
Sure.
But the game of basketball was so good to me and my family that really wanted to give back. And again, I mentioned my dad was my high school coach at Archbishop Carroll. And always thought about getting into the coaching profession after that. So when basketball was not on the table, I thought about going overseas after I finished at Notre Dame. And then Coach Brey and I talked, and there was an opportunity to stay at Notre Dame to be a graduate assistant, be around the program. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, was in South Bend, so I decided to stick it out and do that GA spot for a year, and then kind of just got my feet wet in the coaching profession.
That's awesome. So having your dad a coach at Archbishop Carroll, then going to Notre Dame. So what was that journey like? Philly guy, then going to the Midwest. What was that transition like for you?
Yeah, it was different. I grew up in a basketball family, and my dad was a huge Notre Dame football fan, so always had an affinity for that university. Grew up in a Catholic family, and every Saturday when soccer was over, we'd always schedule our day around when Notre Dame played football. So, growing up and had some opportunities to get evaluated and got exposure. AAU basketball back then wasn't like what it is now, so we did a lot of stuff with our high school team and team camps and stuff, and then they started recruiting me and went out and visited and just kind of fell in love with the place. It checked all the boxes, great academic institution, a Catholic school, and an opportunity to be able to come in and play right away on the basketball court. And had a great experience out there, like great teammates, great friends. It's where my wife and I started our family out there. 3 of our 4 kids were born in South Bend. They were baptized in the Log Chapel on campus and everything. So, I had unbelievable memories from my time out there.
Yeah, it's a great
Minus
place.
the snow, and the lake effect snow.
Exactly. The Midwest, and you're not used to that. But I grew up in Chicago. My dad worked for Sears, so I was out there 84 to 89, and we would always go to South Bend and watch Notre Dame. So that was us, watching the Notre Dame game. So it's a great place, special place, and really helped me develop into the person I am today. That's great. And then you were an assistant coach at Wagner, obviously, in return to Notre Dame with Coach Brey. So what was the role of the assistant coach like? I think a lot of people have an assumption that just like you look at video and do a couple of things, but what is that role like, being assistant coach?
Yeah, I think the best thing for me was, I left Notre Dame, I went to Wagner College to be like a graduate assistant, so the staff there at the time was 2 assistant coaches, and then I was a GA, but I really fell into a 3rd assistant coaching position. And I lived on campus in Harborview Hall, right on campus, and I had my hands in a little bit of everything. I was able to go to grad school at the time, but it was just getting my feet wet in the coaching profession, kind of learning how to teach and motivate young men. And then I had an opportunity to go back to Notre Dame the next year when one of the assistants left to go to St. Bonaventure to be the director of basketball operations. And I think that is something that, as I look back on my experience to becoming my growth to being able to come to head coach, everything that kind of goes into running a program really falls under that title.
Right.
You do team travel, you do compliance, you do academics, you kind of just have your hands on everything that goes into kind of running a basketball program. Then we had success, so I was able to move up to an assistant coach. And I think the biggest thing is, player development, recruiting, really trying to help young men become the best basketball players and people they can be. And when I left there, I was running, you're kind of handling scheduling, you're doing some camp work, you're working with academic advisors, you're making sure everything is compliant. But I think the biggest thing was like recruiting, trying to recruit the best student athletes we could to the University of Notre Dame and help them become, great basketball players that can translate to a lot of wins on the basketball court.
Sure, absolutely. So you got something, right?
Yeah, so, you said you coached under Mike Brey. What's one thing you learned from it?
I mean, we could go on and on about my experience with Mike Brey. I was fortunate to be able to play for him my senior year at Notre Dame when he came in after he had his 5-year tenure here at the University of Delaware. And I think, people always ask me, like, what makes Mike Brey? And I just think he has the unbelievable ability to connect with people. And I loved every minute of being a point guard and playing in his basketball program, and really the belief that he had in me as a basketball player. I had come off maybe a tough junior year. We had a coach that he and I didn't see eye to eye. He left to go to the University of North Carolina. And from day one, I think Mike came in and just really believed in me, got to know me as a person, as a basketball player, and gave me the opportunity, to have a great senior year, and then also give me the opportunity to be on his coaching staff at the University of Notre Dame. And I just think the relationship I was able to develop with him is what I've tried to bring here, and my ability to connect with my players here and help them become the best basketball players and be able to give them confidence. I want guys to be able to come here and be excited to be able to play and practice and be a part of this program. And you care about those people, and you help them, again, continue to reach their goals and dreams.
And I think you can see that, and Gavin's been a part of the camps for a number of years now, and it's just great to see the players, how they interact with the kids, and they're really, I do believe there really is something special with the players. They're very genuine, they're caring, and they really have a lot of fun with the players, so I think you really built something really special here.
Yeah, we got a great group of kids, and I think it goes back to the recruiting process, the type of kids that we want to have in our program and who they are as people, what they represent. We want to bring them into a really strong culture here and help them grow, them develop, our program develop, and continue to challenge them every day.
Right, and we see a lot of people, Gavin being in 8th grade now, see a lot of people learning to coach and stuff like that. So if somebody were to break into coaching, let's say basketball, what would be one piece of advice? I know there's a lot, but maybe if you thought one thing that would help somebody be a coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think, everything is so accessible nowadays with social media. So I think you need to become a student of the game and to be able to try to learn and gather as much information as far as style of play and concepts and offense and defense. I do think there's nothing better than actually like practicing your craft. So any opportunity that you have to coach and develop, I think that was maybe the biggest rude awakening I had from a transition from a player to a coach. I remember at Wagner College, Derek Whittenberg was like, go get out and work these guys out. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know my voice. I didn't know my presence. I didn't have much confidence out there. So, the more you can practice that and script that on a daily basis, whether it's with a high school team, whether it's an AAU team, whether it's at camp in the summer when our guys are working with you a couple weeks ago, and just kind of developing kind of who you are as a coach and a communicator. And then just get out there and I think network as much as you can. I mean, go out and watch a practice at Villanova, come to Delaware's practice, go watch some high school practices, just to be able to be around the game and try to be a sponge and soak it all up. And also to be able to like write down your thoughts and ideas. And I probably didn't do a good job of that when I was young, but nowadays you take notes all the time. Our practice plan, ideas, concepts. You look at my board, I got plays up there now that I'm going to bring to bring to our team this year. But just you're a lifelong learner and trying to find ways to continue to improve as a coach and a teacher and as an educator.
Right, you're like an elder statesman now. So I think pretty much it's great to see that.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
All right, so Delaware is transitioning to Conference USA as a full member. What would that transition be like for you? How can you prepare for that?
Yeah, I mean, we got one more year in the CAA, and then the following year we're heading to Conference USA. I think it's a really, really exciting opportunity for our basketball team and our university. Obviously, you're going into a much better conference, a conference that is nationally recognized. They've had great success, selfishly, for basketball schools and teams that have gone to the NCAA tournament, had success, gotten to a second weekend. You saw Florida Atlantic a couple of years ago get all the way to the Final Four and the run that they had. But just to be able to partner with a conference like that that's going to give us national exposure, national brand recognition. We're going to be on the ESPN platforms, ESPNU, ESPN Plus, ESPN2. It's just a really, really exciting time. I think it was, we needed to do it. It obviously helps football, but I think collectively it's going to really help basketball and the university, and we're going for it. It's going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that's great. No, and I always kept saying that, and I know we've had some of those discussions, like, when is Delaware going to transition? I love Delaware. Obviously, I'm partial to Nova, but I still love Delaware. But it's like, what's going to happen to the football team? How's it going to work? But I think it's great. It's perfect timing to see, you guys grow and move forward, and it's going to be obviously a big challenge for you. But
yeah, I mean, it's like taking a new job, because all these teams that we're playing, you're not as familiar with the players, the coaches, the style of play. We're going to a lot of different cities that we've never been in before. Travel will be a little different, a little more frequent flyer miles to get to some of these places. But I think it comes at a great time for our program and university, and we're really excited about it.
No, that's great.
So, you have big changes in college basketball, like NIL and the transfer portal. How do you manage something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made it challenging. The sport is not what it was when I got into the coaching profession. I just think we have to be on our toes and be able to adapt to the new age of college athletics. We've been unfortunately dinged by the transfer portal to be able to lose a lot of really, really good players over the last couple of years, but it giveth and taketh away too. So we've been able to really attract some high-level basketball players that coming from other universities or institutions to be able to continue to stay at the top of our league. So it was only a matter of time before the NIL stuff was coming. We're still trying to figure it out and what it means for us here at the university. They've done a great job from an education standpoint, and we created a collective. We have the 302 Collective, which is run by two former student athletes or university members at Delaware. So a lot of exciting stuff going on. We're trying to navigate as best we can, but a lot of exciting stuff for our student athletes. There's no better time to be a student athlete in the history of the NCAA than it is now for these 18 to 22-year-old kids. So
agreed.
You
could feel it coming, though, because I could feel it, because you could see things change with transfers and stuff, and then all of a sudden, once it opened up, it was like the wild, wild west at first. I'm like, gosh, I don't know how coaches are going to manage it. And you could kind of feel like it's slowly starting to sink in a little bit and get into a little bit of a rhythm, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Now that the COVID extra year is out of the system, and then you kind of see these cycles of guys coming and going. I mean, we want to make sure that the kids that we bring into our program have unbelievable experiences here, right? Yeah. And the guys that have left, I think they all had such a positive experience here basketball-wise. Academically, socially, we still keep in touch with us. A lot of those guys, and unfortunately, they've left our program, but they had positive experiences here, and they're proud of their time here at the university.
Right, and I love college basketball. I mean, we're junkies and diehards, and I grew up basketball playing, I think, since I was 4. So it's just such a beautiful sport. But is there one thing you'd say, like, maybe you could change that be for the better for the sport?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I go back and forth. You watch the Olympics this year, you see, the 4 quarters, you see the 24-second clock. I do think the game has evolved so much that maybe a little faster pace and go from 30 seconds to 24-second shot clock could be a good thing.
I like that. I could see that.
I think that's probably coming at some point. I do think there has been a push to make college basketball more year-round as well, that maybe in the summer there's some opportunities for us to be able to get out there and scrimmage or play against other teams. We have our guys here in the summer that if we could go up and play against St. Joe's or Villanova or LaSalle and fill an arena. I know that probably TV networks would be excited about something like that. So maybe down the road that's going to come. But I do think to streamline the game, that it's one sport, you play under the same rules. The NABC and the Rules Committee has done a great job continuing to evolve and expand and make our game better. So I think every 2 years they try to implement a couple rules that are going to help our sport.
I like that, like fast pace.
Yeah,
That's definitely a good thing.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that want to have a 20-second shot clock, so maybe we meet them halfway.
They're faster, like Golden State Warriors with the offense. They're trying to push so fast. But no, that's great. Well, this has been a pleasure interviewing you today. We really appreciate it. So we have one last question for you. So what's next for Coach Ingelsby? What do you see on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about our team this year. We have 2 really, really talented freshmen. We have 4 transfers. We got a good returning core of guys. Kind of getting out of a little bit of a quiet period in August, and then school starts next week. We'll get right into workouts and lifting and conditioning, and then practice will start in the end of September. So I'm excited to be on this journey with this team and see who we can become. I know there's going to probably be some bumps in the road, but I have a group that I think they're really excited to be a part of this. They've worked really hard this summer. I look forward to really coaching them.
That's awesome. Now, we appreciate your time today, and good luck for an awesome season and obviously transition. So thank you, Coach Ingelsby.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Anytime. Great having you guys down here.
Yeah.
Yep. Go Hens, right?
That's it. Go Hens. Go Cats as well a little bit, but go Hens.
Yep.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yep.